Welcome, race fans, to Watkins Glen, New York, USA, home of the Watkins Glen Classic Boot Circuit. Today we're going to be racing some Skip Barbers in one of the most epic races that I've had in a very, very long time. Without further ado, let's get into qualifying. Here we go. Here's my hot lap. So for any of you guys that are new to the channel out there, I am a Twitch streamer. So this race was actually broadcast live on January 8th. The link will be in the description if you have any interest in watching the live broadcast of the race, complete with my idiot commentary. It's quite delightful, I'm sure, as usual. I'm sure I talk about lots of dumb things while racing a race car way too fast. But sincerely, though, this race, the reason that we've chosen this for the first highlighted race of the new year was just simply because it was epic. I have no other words for it. The gentlemen that we raced with in the race were all very respectful and fair, as most of the Skippy races are, honestly. For anybody out there that's not familiar with the Skip Barber series, they really are delightful cars to drive, and they make for some very close racing. In this particular case, this track plays out a little bit like a Talladega Draft Masters race, just because no matter how fast you are, if you're not a full 2 seconds faster than the car behind you, you're probably not going to get away. So we basically raced in a big, 5, 6, 7 car pack for the entirety of this race that's coming up. And it really was delightful. I came out of this race with the biggest smile on my face, and not because of where I finished. And this is something that I talk about on Twitch while we're racing quite a bit. It doesn't really matter if I come in 12th place, as long as I've had a good race with someone. That's what does it for me as a virtual racing car driver. So here you go. You have the qualifying stats over on the right-hand side of the screen. As you can see, I did not qualify very well myself, all the way down in P9. But that doesn't really matter. As long as you don't lose the pack, you generally have a chance in the race. And here we go. We're getting ready to start. So I pulled out some facts to talk about in regards to Watkins Glen in both the Skip Barber series itself. This particular layout of the Watkins Glen Classic Boot was built in 1971. And it's pretty much remained this way, with the exception of the bus stop chicane, which you'll see here on the right, which we are no longer taking for this race. Honestly, I think that's one of the reasons that this race was as good as it was the lack of the bus stop. Ironically, chicanes that are put into real racetracks to prevent large crashes tend to create large crashes in racing video games. It has an opposite effect sometimes. We actually got a little separation from the 7 cars that are challenging up front. Myself and the orange car behind me. And I know during the race, I got on the microphone right about then and was like, don't worry, I will catch these guys. Just hang out, we'll get there, trust me. And we did. We got caught back up. It did take a little while, though. Tiro is a racer that I've raced with quite a bit in the Skippy series. He's quite fast and nothing but exceptionally reasonable on the track. Super fair racer. Super fair and aware racer. Super appreciated. The same with a few of these guys in here. I've raced with Yernay as well. I've also raced with Martin, who's running in P3 in the Parmalat car right now. I've raced with quite a few of these guys with some regularity in the Skippy series, and up at the sharp end of the grid like this, it's really just delightful fun, because I think all the players involved really understand not only the car, but racing in general. You're going to see here as we come up onto the straightaway, you're going to see 3-4 wide, 3 maybe 4 wide, and you're going to see nothing but cordiality and respect amongst the racers, which is, I think, all we really ask for as race car drivers, sim race car drivers, is that the other cars around you are aware of you and not doing anything incredibly silly, and that's what we got in this race. So right now, I, Frankie D, am running in 8th place in that green and black car. Meanwhile, we've got Martin and Yernay and Tiro all running up front. Glenn is another fellow that I've raced with a bunch. I tell you, I had a lot of side-by-side with Gonza, but I don't think I'd ever raced with Gonza, but it was really quickly evident to me that Gonza was one of the good guys. I didn't have to worry about him. And as a race car driver, that's one of the things that you have to determine on the fly. If you don't know the guys that you're racing with, if you don't recognize their names, you have to make a real quick determination of whether or not this guy next to you is going to kill you. So I was feeling Gonza out as we came up and got into the mix with him early on in the race, but it all seemed to go very, very well. But I mean, I think this right here is the encapsulation of the Skip Barber series. What you've got is you've got P1 through P10 basically running nose to tail. This is the one time I screwed up the camera view. Sorry about that, guys. I get it fixed very quickly. I was using the mixed TV feed there, which is star 15 on the camera dial, and we got a random roll hoop camera that was like focused on the ground. Not my finest hour in video direction, but it gets better, trust me. Sorry, 9 cars. We have 9 cars running up in the top, running nose to tail pretty much. I miscounted. I thought we had 10. We actually have 9. But I think what you'll see over the course of this race is the lack of closed doors. No one is really slamming the door shut on anybody. There's just a real awareness of all the cars around, and just some what I consider to be some of the fairest and cleanest racing on iRacing, certainly that I've had in a long time. And the fact that it goes on to the end, till the 11th lap, is just, I think, a testament to all the drivers that were involved in this race. Right now we got Yernay leading Martin and Martin Terry. Tiro back there, P5. And we've kind of managed to catch back up and get into the mix here in P6 now. We're looking good. Sadly, there's not much on Skip Barber Racing Series out there on the web right now. I was having a really hard time finding anything, but the Skip Barber Racing School was founded in 1975 by a former racer named, ironically enough, Skip Barber. From what I understand, he was a Harvard business graduate turned race car driver who, when he retired from racing, decided to make some money in racing in a different way. And as a former Skip Barber student and racer, I can attest that it's seen some of the top American talent come through its doors at young ages. I mean, the list is endless, honestly. Like, you talk to most of the drivers in North America that have transitioned from, say, karts to cars. This was generally the first stop on that ladder, which is sad because it's now gone. Interesting anecdote, when I raced in Skip Barber series for the brief moment that I did as we were transitioning from karts to cars, I was instructed sorry, I was waiting for the sound to die a little bit. I was instructed by a woman named Davina Galika. If I'm horribly butchering her name, I apologize. There's no intent. It was just a long time ago, Davina. So my apologies if I've gotten it wrong. To give you a little bit of information on Davina, oh, never mind. I can't get any information on her on the YouTubes, so we'll skip that. But it was my understanding that Davina was actually a Formula One pilot at one point. I don't know if she actually made a race or if she was a test pilot or whatever, but I know that Davina had F1 experience, and I remember that at the time for me, because of course, as any young racer that wants to race road courses, you know, Formula One is our ultimate dream. Sadly, I didn't make it much past Skip Barber, but I wanted to. So knowing that I was being instructed by a former F1 pilot was pretty cool to me, and she was incredibly knowledgeable, and she just exuded cool. You know, I think when I met her, she was probably in her late 40s, maybe even in her 50s. This is 20-some years ago. And I just thought she was too cool. There were a few other notable instructors that I was instructed by as well. And I just absolutely drew a blank on... I had it, and then it went away really quickly. Spencer Pompelli, something like that. Spencer was another one that I was instructed by. I think he drove GT3s and maybe even some prototypes in the American Le Mans series over the years. So another really valuable resource for my early education in racing. Another one of those guys that was just too cool for school. You know, when I went into the Skip Barber program, I thought I was pretty hot shit. But getting to meet actual professional drivers and getting to kind of hang out with them for weekends on end was pretty neat. It was pretty formative. I really credit the Skip Barber education that I got with a lot of what I know about racing. So to find out that Skip Barber had a car in iRacing, I got a little touch from the yellow and black car there. Little touch on the front end sent me over there in front of Martin like that, but it was all good. He was just out on the edge of the track and kind of hooked back on, and I was there. No harm, no foul. Pretty minor stuff. So what Martin is doing there, the reason he's stepping out of draft, there's no car behind him to threaten him right now. He's stepping out of the draft so that he doesn't run up on the back of Tiro. It's something that you'll see a lot of the high-ranked Skippy guys do. Rather than just sitting in the draft and closing up on the car in front of them, they'll pull over to the right, which removes the draft suck. Makes it so that you've got a little bit of space to work in, to operate on. Again, like I said, it's usually something that's done when you don't have any pressure from behind. Here we are, making a play for third place. Going down the inside of Brandon. Didn't quite get it done, so I'm leaving Brandon room on the outside. I didn't want to close the door because I knew I hadn't quite gotten it done. Brandon gets a real nice run back up the hill here, too. In fact, I think Brandon makes a 4-wide play for the lead here, if I'm not mistaken. That might be a different lap. So now there's only 6 of us that are really in contention for the race at this point. We went from 9. There must have been some small contact or something behind us that separated a little bit of the pack. But still, I mean, when you look at this side-by-side racing, there really isn't anything like it on iRacing. Maybe the Mazdas. There are very few cars where you can... I get a little touch from Brandon on the rear there. Just ever so slight. That's what caused me to kind of track out there a bit. And so I wasn't really having a look at Tiro there. I was just trying to maybe close the door so that there wasn't an opening behind me. Just try to make sure that nobody did anything silly. Because I think at this point I was a little concerned about Brandon because we'd had that slight contact. Or wait, maybe the contact is coming. Yeah, I think I was kind of concerned that Brandon might do some super sendy stuff, but... So I kind of leaned over to the right just a little bit. Not a lot, but just a little bit. There's more of that leaning out of the right side to avoid the draft so that you don't stack up right behind the car in front of you directly. I think this might be where I go through for a shot at the lead. And we are 4 wide here momentarily. That is a 4 wide situation right there. Love it. 3 wide now. There comes Brandon up the inside. I think that was the one that made me nervous. Because I think he had tracked out once before and kind of given me a bit of a hip check. I didn't actually, there was no contact, but I had to open my stance up so to not hit him because he was sliding across the track. It's all good. Sometimes you overshoot a little bit and the car slips a little bit. It happens. Happens to the best of us. Like that. That right there is an epic shot of us going around that corner like that. I think it was just... I mean, and I think you could see, you know, from a spectator point of view, why this race was so enjoyable to me. There's a little touch there too. I think that was Terry got a little bit on the curb and came over on me. I think we actually did have a real slight contact, but no harm, no foul. I think he just got on the curbs and kind of tracked out a little bit into me. But we still race fair and clean. That's another great shot. All the skippies funneling down by that wall. Really good stuff. Really, really, really good stuff. But I really think that this is some of the most fun you can have with your clothes on. I really do. And it doesn't necessarily have to be Watkins. I mean, I think that this car produces this kind of racing wherever it goes. Martin had a great run up the inside there, and I had to give it to him. There's no reason to even push. We got a little hairy here. We got Terry and Brandon have a little bit of contact. It was really small. Tiro and Gomez both managed to avoid it, but they lost a little bit of time. You see they fell back about a second here, 0.8 of a second or so. But like I was saying at the beginning of the broadcast, you got to be almost 2 seconds up in order to get away from these guys. I was actually on the microphone like, let's go, Martin. Let's get out of here, man. Step on the afterburner and get us away from these people. I think that's what I said. But we didn't manage to get away, so the race is not boring yet. It's still going to be exciting. We got, what, 2 laps to go? 3 laps to go? And we're getting ready to start 2 to go. I can't really, while I'm commentating, it's kind of hard to see the lap count. So, oh yeah, 9 out of 11. There we go. I can zoom in. I just realized this is all new to me, so you have to bear with me. I'm commentating live while I'm watching it. And so I don't have any like pre-prepared speeches or anything like that. I'm just kind of winging it. This is an interesting moment to segue into, and if you would like to see the real racing stream while I'm reacting live, go to twitch.tv/GreedyMe. The link of this race will be in the description if you would like to watch it back from my point of view and get my actual in-race commentary. The link will be there to do so. Honestly, the YouTube thing, this is a neat thing that I'm experimenting with, but I still think that my bread and butter is on the live broadcast. Talking to you guys live while I'm racing is the coolest thing that I do in my life. I do not see YouTube supplanting that. I see this as a way to maybe draw more eyes to my Twitch channel. So that's the hope. Like, follow, subscribe, all that stupid regurgitated nonsense that I'm never going to really say without a without a hint of sarcasm. But we're getting ready to start the 11th lap, which is the final lap. And that gives me an opportunity to tell you guys that in this race, the way iRacing tracks lead changes, it's at the finish line, start-finish line. This is an 11-lap race that there were 9 lead changes at the line in. I think there were probably more like 30 lead changes, but again, iRacing only tracks at the line, so it appears like there's only 9. But I think there were far more lead changes than 9. Well, here we come. This is going to be for all the marbles. We've just got a handful of turns left, 1 lap. Let's see how it shakes out. Got Gomez, Martin, me, Tiro, Glenn, Jacob, and Brandon, it looks like. Top 7. I know Yerne ran into a little trouble early on. I think there was some contact that shuffled him back. I did not time it very well. I had to get out of the throttle. Bad luck on my part, but one of those deals. I've got a car on my left side. Yeah, Tiro is on the left side in the pink car. So we were 3 wide there with potentiality for 4. I feel like I think I kind of closed the door on Martin a little bit there. It wasn't intentional. I just drifted maybe a little bit further than I wanted to. But you can see, like, I opened it back up here because I think he had a run. I gave him room. It's kind of squeezing Tiro a little bit, but it was because I thought Martin had a run. I wanted to make sure he had space. I did run a little bit of a defensive line here so as to not go 3 wide, and I think it cost me. Because if you'll watch, Martin gets one hell of a drive out of this corner behind me, and there is nothing I can do to defend against it. Sure, I could have driven him down to the grass, but that's not who I am. That's not... I'd rather race, guys. So here we go, going into this left-hand hair or right-hand hairpin, 3 wide. Stunning racing. Stunning racing. Absolutely stunning racing. And Tiro and I are going to go side by side through the last 2 corners. And that's us down to the line. What a race. What an absolutely amazing race. Standings are coming up on the screen now. It gives you a breakdown of how the race actually ended, what the gaps were. What a great race with those guys. So what I've done here for the end of the video, just to close this out, I wanted to just take a minute to really thank all the guys that were involved in this race for this just absolutely spectacular racing. I couldn't be more pleased with this one. This one was so much fun to not only do the highlight reel on, but also in the heat of the moment, this race was unbelievable. So this is just the last lap. I'm watching it in slightly slow motion, I think, or it might be full speed. We just don't have any sound on it. But I think this just will give you guys a real good appreciation for just how close we were driving to each other on this last lap. With no argy-bargy. I mean, nobody made any contact, and I think that's just an extreme testament to the caliber of the guys that I was racing with in this race. So we got to look at the back of Martin's head there for a second. Hello, Martin's brains. Yeah, my little defensive line there into that turn really compromised me coming out of this. I don't know if I would have been able to hold on to it anyway, but it certainly opened the door for Martin to make this move down the inside of the right-hander coming up. But I mean, even this, the 3 of us going through here side by side like this was really, really impressive. I think I kind of skirted Tiro there a little bit. I saw him widen his stance. It could have been some net code, but I mean, we were still pretty far apart. But again, thank you to everybody that ran in this race with me. It was truly a delightful race to run, and I really enjoyed it. I would have put the highlight up on here if I had come in 6th place too. It's not because I came in 2nd. It was really just because the race was just so epic. I just enjoyed it so much. So thank you, everybody. And again, like, follow, subscribe, and twitch.tv/greedyme. Thanks, everybody.